Welcome back to the deep dive. We're doing something a little different today. Usually, when we talk about history, it's the straight line, stone tools, bronze, iron, this gradual progress.
Right, a nice, neat timeline.
Exactly. But today we are tackling a stack of research called Seven Veils of the Nile. And honestly, this isn't the Egypt you see on the travel posters.
No, it certainly isn't. And I'm glad we're skipping the, Introduction to Pharaohs 101.
Right.
Everyone listening knows what a pyramid looks like.
Right.
What this research argues is that our familiarity is actually a blinder.
A blinder. How so?
We see the shape and we just stop asking questions. But when you actually look at the data, in engineering, the geology, the unexplained deaths, the standard textbook explanation starts to feel a little, thin.
Thin is putting it mildly. The whole idea here is that there are 7 specific secrets that suggest this civilization wasn't just, dragging rocks around.
No, they were operating with a level of technological and philosophical mastery that we are, frankly, still trying to reverse engineer.
And I want to start right there with the most obvious physical evidence. Let's talk about the engineering secrets 1, 3, and 5. Because I've always been a bit skeptical of the mystery angle.
Sure.
I mean, throw enough people at a problem and you can build anything, right?
That is the standard rebuttal. Time plus slave labor equals pyramids.
Yeah.
But this deep dive, it forces us to look at the physics. And the physics don't care about manpower. Let's take the Great Pyramid. We're talking about 2.3 million blocks of stone.
Which is an insane number.
It is, but the real issue isn't the quantity, it's the precision.
Right, the alignment. I've read that it's aligned to true north, but is that really so hard? I feel like I can find north with a stick and a shadow.
You can find rough north, but the Great Pyramid is aligned to true north within 3/60ths of a degree of error.
Wait, say that again? 3.
3/60ths of a degree.
Yeah.
To put that in context, the Paris Observatory, the pinnacle of 17th century European science, is less accurate than that.
No way.
And the Egyptians did this thousands of years before the telescope.
Okay, that's startling. So they weren't just eyeing it.
Hardly. And then you have the construction materials themselves. Most of the pyramid is limestone, which is, manageable.
Okay.
But the inner chambers, the king's chamber, that is red granite, these blocks weigh up to 80 tons.
80 tons. So roughly the weight of a Boeing 737.
Exactly. And these weren't quarried next door. They came from Aswan, over 500 miles away.
500 miles.
So you have to quarry a 737-sized rock, transport it 500 miles, and then, this is the part that baffles engineers, lift it hundreds of feet into the air and place it with such precision you cannot fit a razor blade between the joints.
And this is where the ramps theory usually comes in, right? You just build a big dirt ramp and haul it up.
That's the theory. But the research points out the flaw. To drag a block that heavy to that height, the ramp would need a slope of about 7 degrees to be usable.
Okay, that makes sense.
But to reach the top of the pyramid at that slope, the ramp would have to be over a mile long.
A mile long.
It would contain more material than the pyramid itself. We've never found any evidence of such a massive structure.
So if it wasn't a giant ramp and they didn't have cranes, what are we looking at?
That is the technological anomaly. Some engineers suggest a spiral internal ramp. Others, and the research touches on this, suggest we're looking at lost technology.
Like what?
Something about leverage and counterweights that was far superior to anything we credit them with. It's not magic, it's just mechanics. But it's mechanics that shouldn't exist in the Bronze Age.
It's like finding a microchip in a steam engine. It just breaks the model.
Exactly.
And speaking of internal anomalies, that brings us to secret number 1, the hidden chambers.
Yes.
Because for a long time, we thought we had the map of the pyramid figured out. King's Chamber, Queen's Chamber, Grand Gallery, done.
That was the consensus, until very recently. But the Scan Pyramids project changed everything.
Right, they used, what was it, muons?
Muon radiography. They're essentially using cosmic rays to X-ray the stone. And they found the big void.
I remember seeing the headlines for this, but it kind of vanished from the news. What did they actually find?
It's a cavity, at least 30 meters long, right above the Grand Gallery. It's huge.
30 meters.
The size of a passenger plane fuselage, just sitting in the middle of solid rock. And the architects clearly put it there on purpose. It's a design space.
And we still haven't opened it.
No. You can't just dynamite a hole in a world wonder. But the speculation is intense. Why hide a space that large?
Yeah.
Is it a stress-relieving chamber to protect the gallery below? Or, as the Seven Veils investigation suggests, is it a repository?
A repository for what? More mummies?
Unlikely. The pharaoh was in the main chamber. The theory here is that it could be a library, a hall of records.
Okay.
If you wanted to preserve knowledge, blueprints, star charts, the math that built the place, you wouldn't put it in the open tomb where robbers go. You'd seal it in a blind chamber that no one knows exists.
Which connects directly to secret number 5, the encoded knowledge.
Precise.
Because if they went to all this trouble to align the building and hide chambers, it implies they had something worth hiding. I've always looked at hieroglyphs as just royal propaganda. I am the king, look how great I am.
And a lot of it is that, of course. But the deeper analysis suggests a multi-layered system. It's steganography hiding data in plain sight.
Ow.
Take the dimensions of the Great Pyramid itself. If you take the perimeter of the base and multiply it by 43,200, you get the equatorial circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy.
Wait, 43,200? That seems like a really random number.
It's not. It's a number derived from the precession of the equinoxes, the slow wobble of the Earth on its axis.
So they knew.
It suggests they knew the size of the planet and the motion of the planet through space. The building isn't just a tomb. It's a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere.
Okay, playing devil's advocate here, couldn't that just be a massive coincidence? People love finding patterns in numbers.
It's possible. Yeah. But when you stack the true north alignment, the golden ratio in the geometry, and the acoustic properties of the chambers, that coincidence pile gets incredibly high. It implies a civilization that prioritized math and astronomy as sacred sciences. They were encoding the software of the universe into the hardware of the stone.
So we have this hyper-advanced, mathematically obsessed culture, but the people running it, that's a different story. Let's pivot to the ruler's secrets 2 and 4.
Yes.
Because for all their star mapping wisdom, the pharaohs seem to drop dead in very messy, very human ways.
The contrast is sharp, isn't it? The perfection of their stone versus the chaos of their politics. The research dives deep into the political intrigue of the royal court. It wasn't serene.
Let's talk about the big one, Tutankhamun, the boy king. The story I learned was he was a sickly kid, result of inbreeding, maybe fell off a chariot.
That is the current forensic consensus, the clubfoot malaria theory. But this investigation flags the timing. He died at 19, just as he was starting to assert control over his advisors.
Advisors like I and Horemheb, who both took the throne right after him.
Extremely convenient timing. There was a bone fragment found in his skull during earlier x-rays that had suggested a blow to the head, though that's been disputed.
But the burial.
But look at the burial. It was rushed. The paint on the walls hadn't even dried when they sealed the tomb. Microbiologists found mold spots that confirm it.
That screams cover-up.
It does. You don't rush the burial of a living god unless you need to move on to the next administration quickly.
The king is dead. Long live the general who happened to be standing nearby. And then there's Cleopatra. Secret number 2. I feel like pop culture has done her a dirty deal.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole suicide by asp thing feels very theatrical.
It is theatrical because it was likely written by her enemies. Cleopatra was the last obstacle to Rome's total dominance. Octavian, later Emperor Augustus, needed her gone.
But he couldn't look like he murdered a foreign queen.
Exactly. So the suicide story is basically a press release.
A press release, that's a good way to put it.
Dying by a cobra bite was a symbol of divine royalty in Egypt. It makes her death a religious choice, not a gritty political execution. It's better branding for Rome.
She was too proud to surrender, not, we dragged her out and killed her.
History is written by the winners. But the Egyptians had a way of striking back from the grave. This is secret number 4. The curse.
Now, I'm a rational guy. I don't believe in mummies coming to life. But the body count around King Tut's tomb opening is weirdly high.
It is uncanny. Lord Carnarvon dying shortly after the opening.
And the lights going out in Cairo the moment he died.
That adds to the myth. But what I find fascinating here isn't the supernatural explanation, but the psychological one. The research posits that the curse was actually a sophisticated security system.
A security system, like an alarm.
A mimetic alarm. A mind virus. If you are a pharaoh, you know people want your gold. Walls can be breached.
So you build a story.
You inscribe warnings. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king. You create a terrifying superstition that lasts longer than any wall.
It's psychological warfare, a keep-out sign that targets your nightmares.
Precisely. And there's also a biological theory mentioned, ancient pathogens. Sealed tombs can cultivate mold spores, like aspergillus, which can be deadly.
So it might be a mix of biology and psychology.
But primarily, it was a clever warning designed to hack the minds of grave robbers.
That's brilliant. You don't need a guard dog if everyone thinks the house is haunted.
Exactly. But here is where the story shifts. The civilization falls, The tombs are sealed, but the idea is escape. This brings us to secret number 6, the legacy.
This is the part that always surprises me. We think of Egypt as just ending. Rome takes over and that's it. But you see these Egyptian symbols popping up way later.
It's the survival of the intellectual property. The research traces a direct line from Egyptian mysticism into Hermeticism, alchemy, and eventually secret societies like the Freemasons.
Are we talking about the Eye of Providence, the pyramid on the dollar bill?
That's the most famous example, but look at the Washington Monument. It's an obelisk.
Right.
That is a distinctly Egyptian form. The founding fathers of the U.S., many of whom were Masons, were deeply influenced by what they believed was the perfect wisdom of Egypt.
So they weren't just copying the look, they were trying to download the operating system.
Yes. They believed that Egypt had unlocked the secrets of geometry, morality, and society. The argument is that the secret schools of Egypt never really closed, they just went underground.
That's a powerful thought. That the hidden truths aren't just in the sand, they're in the architecture of our own capitals. But let's be honest, everyone wants to know about the actual stuff in the sand. Secret number 7, buried wealth.
The lost treasures.
We've been digging there for 200 years. We have satellite scans. Is there really anything left? Or are we just scraping the bottom of the jar?
We are barely scratching the surface. It's estimated that we have uncovered less than 30% of ancient Egypt.
30%.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. The desert is vast, the sand shifts. Think about it. The Valley of the Kings is just one burial site. There are rumors, supported by texts from Herodotus, of a massive labyrinth.
A labyrinth.
Containing 3,000 rooms, surpassing even the pyramids in ambition.
Herodotus saw this.
He claimed to have walked through it. He described it in detail, yet we haven't found it. Some ground-penetrating radar surveys in the Hawara area have shown massive, grid-like anomalies underground.
So there could be a megastructure sitting right there and we just haven't dug it up.
Excavation is expensive, political, difficult. The water table is high, but the potential is staggering. We aren't just talking about gold, though there would be plenty of that.
We're talking about that Hall of Records again.
That's the real treasure, isn't it?
Mm.
The gold looks good in a museum, but the records answer the questions.
Imagine finding the engineering schematics for the Great Pyramid.
Or the medical texts, the astronomical logs. That is the buried wealth that actually matters.
It changes the whole game. It stops being, look at these primitive people and their shiny rocks, and starts being, look at this lost branch of human science.
Exactly. It challenges our arrogance. We like to think we are the apex of civilization. But what if we dig up a library that shows they understood things 5,000 years ago that we're just rediscovering?
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from 50-ton blocks that defy gravity to avoid the size of a plane inside the Great Pyramid.
We've looked at staged suicides of queens, psychological firewalls.
And the fact that we might only be looking at 30% of the picture.
It's a reminder that history isn't a closed book. It's a puzzle where we are still missing half the pieces.
And that leads me to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. We know about the big void. We know it's there. We know about the anomalies under the sand in Hawara. If the ancient Egyptians really did possess a technological mastery that we can't replicate, and if they hid that knowledge in a chamber we haven't opened yet, what happens when we finally open the door? Are we going to find a mummy, or are we going to find an instruction manual that makes our modern technology look like stone tools?
That is the question that keeps me up at night, and I hope we find out in our lifetime.
Same here. Thanks for exploring the veils with us. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.